at HQ. I think it's what is it, April 5th today, um, 2023.
Well, it, yeah, April. It's getting April 6th here,
It's kind of late, yeah, for sure. What's going on, Agent X?
dude. Trying to get over this rat fuck cold that I have. Um, but nah, not much. I mean, we saw today that the Trump stuff just absolutely dropped out of the media like a fucking bag of dog shit. And I think you saw the liberals really. I know we said we'd have everything up, but I've been sick and Brock has been busy. But we'll have it up this week. We'll have a play. We'll have a whole rundown. But it's dropped out of the media because it was an embarrassing weak indictment. Um, the failure to specify that the second crime, the in furtherance of crime, in the indictment, I think is going to be fatal to the indictment, but it just highlights how weak it is. And really, if you read the statement of facts, um, it's all about delegitimizing Donald Trump's win of the 2016 election. They're trying to go back and rewrite history and basically say that Donald Trump stole that election by doing the catch and kill stuff, and it was in trying to portray that as illegal, which it's not. Um, but um, it is very problematic. You know, Marshawn, the judge, I mean, he played right into their hands, dragging it out. The next court appearance, December 5th, he wants Trump there, right in the middle of the primaries. You're probably going to have a trial in this thing right in the middle of primary season. Wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was easy to spot from the moment that they started leaking the grand jury proceedings, and of course that was likely Elvin Bragg who did that. But they're trying to mess with Donald Trump's ability to deal with the primary situation, and he's going to be facing some strong opposition from the likes of DeSantis and potentially other candidates who come out of the woodwork here.
Yeah, the
And
more I hear from DeSantis, the more I'm impressed with him. The only problem is Disney and Bob Iger, the weatherman. He was really a weatherman. Really just fucking outmaneuvered him. Played a fucking illegal trump card on him with that Reedy Creek stuff. And that's the thing. It's like if something like that can slip through, if a fucking woke, bloated, you know, corporation that's losing money hand over fist can pull one over on you like that for with Reedy Creek. How in the hell can somebody like that lead the country? I mean, you're gonna have shady fuckers in China and Russia pulling scams like that on you all the time. You can't let him get away. That was a really bad look for DeSantis, what Disney did to him.
well, I thought what was really strong about the Bob Iger situation was that he took control of the narrative and said that DeSantis was anti-business. And for a Republican like DeSantis in Florida, who kind of gained a ton of popularity by bucking this position on the pandemic, it is, you can see that it's impacted his popularity. You can see his favorability rates go down a little bit with his base simply
Well,
because of
so
that.
it's not well. This Reedy Creek thing really just exemplified how he doesn't have a grasp of politicking and really, I guess, the maneuvers of it, because you know Dis- Disney, before DeSantis's board took over, the previous Reedy Creek board, they did all that stuff out in the open, in public forums, in public meetings, and DeSantis and his people didn't have anybody sitting in on that and being like, "What the fuck are these guys doing?" And then they just get totally blindsided by it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it just shows that he was a little inept. He's a little got caught off his feet. Um, I mean, I was starting to get a little impressed with DeSantis, but now I'm not. And you look at the rest of these conservative Republican candidates, and they're all fucking shitbags. I mean, Nikki Haley, big giant shitbag. Asa Hutchinson, big giant shitbag. Mike Pence, big giant establishment shitbag. I mean, Trump is a once in a 100-year president. He is like he's a George Washington or a Lincoln, somebody who is a disruptor. And I'm really afraid we're gonna lose him.
Um, okay, so Trump put out a couple of posts on Truth Social today, and we kind of got cut off yesterday when we were really um, we were talking about what angle Trump was taking, the feelings that Trump was experiencing, but most importantly, I think we missed out on a couple of things, and that is, um, like, you know, Trump's. So Trump went and had this kind of press conference at Mar-a-Lago, and went straight after Alvin Bragg, went straight after Merchant, went straight after all all these liberals. I mean, do you think that Trump would have done that if not for any other, like purpose? Where do you think Trump got information and decided to take that
Dude,
path?
he's been listen, I know for a fact that they look at our playbook, man. They look at the way that you and I have been hitting these corrupt government officials, the way we've been outspoken about them, particularly these judges on the bench, because the judges on the bench today are not the judges on the bench of 20, 30, 40 years ago who would pull people into chambers and say, nah, we're not going to have a trial on this. We're going to get this resolved because you're not going to go around and embarrass your family, right? Whether it's a civil dispute or a criminal dispute or whatever. The judges of today are, you go in for um, a divorce hearing, they want to keep you there. They want the conflict to. I mean, it was dirty to be a divorce judge or to be a divorce lawyer 20, 30, 40 years ago. Like, that was like scraping toilets. And now they figured out a racket because there's this attack on the nuclear family that, oh, let's just keep these people in there and just turn this into a massive grift. Then we can hire all these ancillary people like uh, domestic violence coordinators and counselors, and we can get the attorneys really rich and charge really high fees and keep people in the system for years and years. That was the case. Same thing with civil cases, man. Like, the judges used to pull these people into the chambers and say, "Hey, let's settle these cases. Let's not fucking do something that's gonna destroy your businesses, your reputations. Let's just settle this and move on." Now it's all about stringing it out and racking up attorneys' fees. The judges are more complicit in this racket that these attorneys have than anybody. They're the ones who keep the wheels circling. And I think, you and I and a few others were the first to really call this out, that the legal profession and these these government organizations, they've really changed. And a lot of it has been because of Democrat policies, um, these progressive policies. And, um, I know for a fact that Trump and his people have looked at our playbook, and looked at some of the things that you've done on criticizing, you know, the corrupt judges you've been in front of, and uh, have really taken to that. And I expect he's probably going to hit Marshawn harder with some more rhetoric and calling him out for his corruption. I mean, again, not only, he points out that his daughter's works for the Biden Harris campaign, and he hates Trump. He ruled against him, but like, won't you get to the facts that he fucking held the Trump organization in contempt, and then sealed the order for failing to comply with discovery demands? It's complete bullshit. Um, why don't we discuss the fact that he didn't exclude cameras from the courtroom, or on one end of the spectrum, or allow full video cameras on the other end of the spectrum so we could see everything. No, he allowed 5 pool reporters in there so they could go in there and take a picture of Trump at his lowest point in the defendant's seat, so they could then go and play it in all these Democratic commercials and advertisements. I mean, it's a devious move by a fucking, punk ass judge.
Yeah, and Fox News and the mainstream sort of conservative media has not done a good enough job to talk about this and to defend Trump. And all of these things are true. And I noticed that Mershon said something like, "Oh, well, the state can't talk about the case either. Prosecutors are forbidden from talking about the case." And that's just like a general ethics rule. More importantly, prosecutors talk about the case all the time. I mean, Alvin Bragg leaking the proceedings of the grand jury is a great example of this. There's no accountability whatsoever, and they know that. And if
Well, it
one
goes
of
back to
Trump's,
what I was. It goes back to what I was saying last night with the defense attorneys, man. These these prosecutors and these defense attorneys work in tandem to fuck people who get who get ensnared in the system, right? Like these defense attorneys, well, these prosecutors are never abiding by what the law is. They're always cutting corners. They're always fucking. They never stick to the letter of the law, right? They're always fucking making up bullshit and lying on the record. I mean, they're little lies, but they're lies, and they're to make up for the fact that they didn't do the work, or that they're effectively trying to fuck your client over. And these defense attorneys won't call them out on it because they're afraid. Oh well, my next client won't get a good deal. I have to have good relationships with these people. And that's really the problem is, we don't really have a system of advocacy anymore. We have a system of grift.
mm-hmm, yeah, well, that's very true. But in the
So
sense that
so
in
so I think maybe, tomorrow I'll work on the Miro board, and maybe we can go into this more in depth. But I really want to talk about, um, what the rest of the world, if the rest of the world thinks this is an opportunity, and also talk a little bit. This is going to be a short stream, but a little bit about, your boy, your Cash App boy, getting stabbed to death.
the president of El Salvador tweeted that the U.S. can't talk about diplomacy in the same way with respect to democratic institutions because of this Trump indictment. Um, Nayib Bukele, however you pronounce his name. And so I think there's been kind of this universal rejection of the Trump indictment from a lot of these world leaders who knew Trump, who met Trump, including Viktor Orban in Hungary. But Yeah, we can talk about that later. Yeah, we can certainly touch on this Cash App situation. What's going on with Bob Lee?
Well, yeah, Crazy Bob got stabbed to death, man. Kind of suspicious circumstances. It's I mean, it's scary. It's right up there with our boy Golden Balloon dude. Um, you just don't know. I mean, I was watching something the other day where a guy was standing in a coffee shop and asked another guy, please don't vape around my children. Can you please stop? And the fucking dude stabbed him to death while
Oh
people
my
just stood
God.
there. Have you seen that?
No.
Here, let me find it. Um, uh,
There was a report about some YouTuber who apparently was known for pulling practical jokes who got shot either yesterday or today.
no, well, yeah, there was that, but there's a court TV case going on right now. Um, um, there's a court TV case going on right now where um, this guy was like revving his truck up around the neighborhood, and a neighbor went to confront him, and I guess he was posted that stuff on YouTube, and then he almost hit the neighbor one time, so the neighbor went to confront him, and they got to his garage, and he pulled out a knife and just stabbed him to death. And whatever state they're in, they don't have a stand your ground law, so you have to retreat first. And man, it was a bloody fucking scene.
Oh my God. Okay, well, the Bob Lee case has garnered a lot of publicity. I guess that's because apparently a lot of people have used Cash App.
Yeah.
Um, and he also was the chief product officer of Square. He started out as a software developer. I think he worked as a staff software developer at Google. So Bob Lee getting stabbed
Here, I'm sending you this article about the.
somewhere near the Mission in San Francisco.
Yo, we got a comment, bro. Yo, Julio.
Yo, what's up, Julio?
I just sent you the article about the dude who got stabbed at Starbucks. But this is happening more and more, man. Like there was a woman today who got her hands and her feet cut off by a robber. I mean, it's dangerous to go outside these days.
I don't know how anyone could live in San Francisco or New York City knowing that this is becoming, or at least even like going outside for long periods of time, unless you don't
Dude,
have some form of security with you. And I truly mean that. I'm not exaggerating by any means because I personally have spent a lot of time just walking through San Francisco when I worked there. And I would say I was very naive to do that even then, and it was safer then. In today's world, um, with the kind of Soros prosecutors who do the opposite, and there was another big story about a parking lot security guard in New York City who got charged with murder for apparently taking a gun away from someone who shot him, and they were struggling over the gun. I mean, whatever you want to think. I mean, and I guess Bob Lee also moved to Miami recently, but he flew back and he was in San Francisco for some business meeting and he was walking. And so he also, according to some of these articles, after Bob Lee, and it wasn't a lot of the stuff that he was doing was caught on surveillance camera, but the moment apparently that he was stabbed was not caught on camera. But they caught a piece of this where after he was kind of like staggering apparently after being stabbed, and he was trying to like flag people down who were driving, and no one would help him. He put his hand apparently on a window, like bloodied, and the car just drove away. And to
Yeah,
me,
man.
that's almost as bad as getting, like not helping someone who's just
It's
been
terrible.
tragically
It's
hurt.
it's dangerous out there, man. And, like, we've lost all sense of societal norms, and it's gonna get worse and worse. Hey, I just sent you a link to an image. I want you to tell me if this girl's attractive or not. She's the new Bud Light girl.
I have no answer. I'm assuming it's a trans.
Dude, you are such a bigot, bro.
Dude, I
You're such
guess
a
Kid
bigot.
Rock, he went out and he made a video about Bud Light.
Dude, here's a picture of her, okay? Just like be honest, man. Hey, like, do you find her attractive or not? I just said it to you. Like, just be honest for once in your life, man.
For once in my life.
Well, I shouldn't have said that. You're a pretty honest, dude.
No. No, not this picture.
Why? She's cute.
I disagree.
Well, why do you find her not attractive? Like, what about her features?
It looks like a man.
Well, I was gonna say it's
Why
the
are you laughing?
I was, I was gonna say it's the dick in her pants. Oh my god.
It is the cheapest beer pretty much that you can buy, right?
I think Natty Light's probably. There's some cheaper beers,
It's pretty low
dude.
though.
That's pretty bad.
All right. Well, when you have more energy, you think maybe later this week we should go in more detail about this Trump indictment and talk about
Yeah,
your
but
favorite characters, Doyle and Jorge Dupico.
yeah, we can, because I think we're gonna see more stuff pop up here shortly. But let me just say this. So, as the spectacle of Trump was going on yesterday, China and Russia, I mean, they're preparing, right, to kill our economy. They've now partnered with Saudi Arabia to cut oil production. We have reports that China has now created a blockade around Taiwan. Um, the Canadian prepper put something out here a few minutes ago. It said that Moscow's on high alert. Let me find it.
Oh, really? Let's pull it up.
Breaking news: Moscow headquarters is on fire. Nukes moved.
Which headquarters?
It just says head HQ. I guess the Kremlin, maybe. I don't know.
What do you think about these bombings that are increasingly targeting high level
Oh, here,
officials?
fire rips through Russian Ministry of Defense as Putin held talks with Belarusian dictator Alexander Lushenko. Here, I'll send you the link to it. It's really, I mean, that's some scary stuff, man. Like, do you think that China's going to wait around to see if DeSantis or Trump gets elected? No, they're going to fucking go. They're going to do whatever they're going to do within the next 6 months because they want Mr. My butt's been wiped to be the one who handles it. My butt's been wiped. My butt's been wiped.
It's almost worse though for everybody involved when Biden somehow gets to rubber stamp the decisions that are made for him, because it ends up in a situation where his closest staff, who are arguably somewhat competent, um, are like, they're hardcore hawks. All they want to do is create war everywhere. I mean, these are the
Yeah.
kinds of people who want to send troops to basically every country on earth and occupy all these foreign lands, and you know engage in all kinds of horrible deeds in order to profit in some way or another off of it. So that's why I say it's almost worse when Biden has to rubber stamp these decisions, because
Well, he's not in control, man. It's hard to tell who's in control, really.
that's why I'm
But he's
saying
not
that
in
Biden
control.
isn't making the decisions. All he's doing is rubber stamping these decisions that are given to him by someone else. So,
No, I agree.
like, I'll give an example. If China invaded Taiwan, I mean, what if the Pentagon said, well, maybe we should use nuclear weapons against China? And then Biden just rubber stamps it. Obviously, not saying that that would ever happen, and maybe Biden would never do that. But it seems like Biden might not be competent enough to understand what ramifications and consequences that certain military decisions. Obviously, we've seen that with Ukraine. And this Ukraine situation will probably be the epicenter for any major nuclear war, regardless. But that's why I say it's almost worse.
Yeah, bro. Dude, I know. I know.
What's up with this fire?
I don't know, man. Somebody fucking got the Ministry of Defense. Dude, you gotta watch the Masters. What are you more excited for tomorrow? The first round of the Masters or Star Trek Picard, Season 3, Episode 8?
Neither. Not interested in either.
Oh, Lord.
Should I be?
You just want to
Are
get.
you?
You just want to get. Dude, I'm interested in both.
Which
You just want to get with
which
that.
which one are
You
you
want.
more excited about?
Uh, Probably the Masters. Star Trek Picard, it's been hyped up by all the nerds and the shills, but it's not that good, bro.
Can you bet on the Masters?
Yes.
Who would you bet on?
Probably um, Rory McIlroy.
Tiger Woods can't
He's
be
hurt, man.
competitive anymore.
He's hurt. He can't. He can barely walk. I mean, he really fucked his. Like, he could have beat Jack Nicklaus's record
I
easy,
know.
and he fucked around. He fucked around, right? And let me tell you what he did was, yeah, he got all these injuries and stuff, and a lot of it was caused by the torque he was putting on his back and on his legs, right, with his swing. But he wasn't really conditioning himself either uh, to to by working out and conditioning himself so his body could take it. Instead, he was going around trying to fuck Rachel Ucatel and all these, butt ugly waitresses.
So are you saying that Tiger Woods didn't live up to his potential?
No, he could have won 30 majors. And he stalled out at, I mean, he's got 15, but he's really stalled out at 14. And the reason was because he got preoccupied with chasing tail rather than taking care of his body. And it's like with a wrestler, right? Like we know wrestling's fake, but those motherfuckers take bumps. They take pretty hard hits. And the only insurance policy for them not to get hurt is to work out, bulk up, have your body in shape, have your body in a condition where it can take bumps and hits and things like that. And it's the same thing with golf. You have to condition your body. If you have a swing that generates a ton of torque, and on your back and your shoulders and your hips and your legs, well, that means you got to do one of two things, right? You either got to sort of revamp your swing and have a swing that's less detrimental to your body, which you never did, or you better be fucking conditioning your body to take that fucking force.
Didn't it all go downhill though after the divorce and the whole situation involving the car accident?
Well, he was hurt before that because remember he won that U.S. Open and he was hobbling around on one foot. He had a bad leg and all that shit. He won that playoff against Rocco Media. He was already starting to show signs that he was hurt there, and I think there were signs before that as well. But yeah, I mean, he fucking white. he was he was hurt. All right, he was already taking time off, played in less tournaments before the shit hit the fan with his marriage. But the stuff going and chasing after the women, I mean, that dated back way before his marriage hit the fan. And he was doing that, and instead of going out and training and really, dedicating yourself to a passion, he was chasing tail, and it cost him his body.
Well,
Yeah, he's one of the most drugged up fucking players on the players or athletes in general. Because remember, um, well, he takes a
the
shit ton of
oxy.
beta blockers. Well, he was taking
Well,
beta blockers, and that's why he crashed that car the most recent time and almost lost his foot. But remember, they had the guy who was going around shooting athletes up with steroids.
yeah.
He got, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but he got Tiger Woods, he got Phil Mickelson, he got a bunch of baseball players, and he was selling it. I think maybe it was like some stem cell
Rick
therapy or
something?
something. Yeah, but Tiger Woods was doing that, and that'll fucking do a toll on your body, and that'll make you aggressive. You know, it's interesting. So, I think one of SBF, not to shift too many gears here, but one of SBF's defenses, I think, is going to be that he was prescribed that IMSOM patch, and that IMSOM patch, like it's clinically proven that it causes you to lose inhibitions, and so like one of the things it does is it helps it quickly alleviate, like where most antidepressants you have to has to build up in your system, and it takes 6 to 8 weeks and sometimes longer. Well, MSOM, you put that fucking patch on and it's working instantly. But the problem with the MSOM patch is that it causes you to lose your inhibition. So what happens is people go out and they have promiscuous sex, and it causes you to focus on like very mundane things, but it also causes you to be a compulsive gambler. And that's exactly what happened with SBF, was that he became a compulsive gambler, taking that IMSOM patch, and he realized it, and he was actually um, able to extract I think it's called sledgeling from the patch, and be able to take it, apply it more directly, so it have a stronger kick to it. And that's the problem, man. When you start taking drugs like that, it fucks your body up. I mean, you may get a short term gain, but it fucks your body up in the long term. And I can only imagine what it's done to his mind now that he's been off of it. I mean, who knows? But for me, you know, I I took Valium and Ativan for my anxiety, and I can already tell that it's had an effect on my cognitive abilities as I'm getting older. Got to be very careful with stuff like that.
Uh, we haven't got into the SBF case recently, but there's been a lot of new events, and I think that SBF has now been relegated to using a flip phone. That's been highly publicized. I think the New York Post was writing a lot about that, but yeah, I think he's still. I mean, if an MSOM patch is prescribed through a doctor, in this case SBF, obviously must have had it prescribed. I mean, he's still likely able to take it.
Here you
Anyways, but
go. It's
yes, it's
being
true that your boy Tiger Woods had a drug problem that he admitted to. But I think he'd been to
here you go.
he's publicly admitted to going to treatment many times. And I know it's not proper to talk about other people's drug issues and stuff, but he's a public person. He's admitted to it.
Well, it's not good.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, Tiger Woods had a lot of skill, and he squandered his potential a little bit. I don't know if it
Oh,
was
dude.
not taking care of his body or just getting so absorbed emotionally in this divorce with Ellen Nordegren, his Swedish wife.
Holy
Um,
shit. They charged this Charlie Javis with fraud.
oh yeah. That's another one. So
They
she
charged her with fraud
graduated.
today, yesterday.
Yeah, she had that student loan startup that she tried to sell to Jamie Dimon at J.P. Morgan, and she paid a data science professor $18,000 to produce 4 million falsified records. Who does that remind me of? Other people from the University of Pennsylvania. She had went to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. All of my enemies seem to come out of one place, and that's the University of Pennsylvania. But I mean, and I've caught them fabricating countless uh, pieces of evidence against me. But again, not to get into my own situation, I think here you have Charlie Javis. I mean, facing a very serious sanction by a federal court. And here's another problem. Like J.P. Morgan has stolen billions and billions of dollars. I have worked on banking projects where I've seen J.P. Morgan steal money from homeowners, and it is a little bit of an irony to see that J.P. Morgan is now responsible, at least somewhat, for getting Charlie Javis charged here. But this is a very serious sentence, and there's no way that she's going to get out of this. By the way, 10 years.
I'm
What is it? Ten
shocked
or
that
15 years in prison?
it said decades. I'm shocked that they charged her because I mean, doesn't it fall on J.P. Morgan to do their
Due diligence.
do their due diligence in the
Exactly.
deal?
Makes them look like a bunch of fucking idiots.
Instead of where they were negligent and failing to do their due diligence, they're now going after this poor girl and trying to put her behind bars for quote unquote decades.
It's one
She
thing
is out on
to
a two
it's
million dollar bail though.
it's one thing to maybe prevent her from holding public office at a corporation in the future and maybe financially sanctioning her, but to throw this kind of indictment at her, man. And there's this weird thing going on too. Remember what's Elizabeth Holmes too? I mean, why are they going after all these startup founders from these elite schools like Stanford and UPenn? Um, Crazy. But Alex Spiro is her lawyer, and he also represents your boy Elon Musk. And Spiro has a reputation for getting people out of trouble. So let's hope he can work his magic.
Yeah,
It's
man,
crazy.
this is bad. I can't believe they charged her. I mean, it's. I mean, this is wild that they charged her.
Um,
If I have time, I'll read the indictment because it looks like they charged her with conspiracy, wire fraud, bank fraud, and securities fraud. So I don't know, man. All right, but we better wrap it up because Picard is coming on soon.
okay,
Dude, are you gonna get a little dog?
maybe.
Well, my little dog told me he loved me today, so
That's good.
he's a good boy. His birthday's coming up. What are you getting him?
How can you be so sure
What? How can I be sure what?
of your dog's birthday? Do you have like
It's
a
in
birth
his vet
certificate or
records.
something?
Yeah, it's in his vet records.
I thought you said it was a fake birthday though. Like you weren't really
Well,
sure.
well, I mean, he's got to have a birthday. What's one day compared to the next?
Oh, I was maybe I don't know. What do you think you'd want for his birthday? Like,
He likes pizza
okay,
and he likes treats. That's about it.
it's doable.
He was playing. He was playing with Tiger, so that's always good. He was chasing him around the yard. I've never seen him do that before. So he's a good dog. Yeah, he's sitting here with me. We should get him on the stream, and we should get his thoughts on what he thinks about Trump.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Sometimes he combs his hair like Trump, and he calls himself Little Trump.
I bet. You should
Dude,
get him like a little
I don't
MAGA
know.
hat.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, if you comb his hair forward, he looks just like Trump.
I
I'll send
I
a
think
I'll send a pic.
I can envision it because I know what your dog looks like. So, but you should certainly get a MAGA hat for him.
Yeah, he's a good boy. Now he's trying to get under the covers. Okay, bud, you gotta stay up there.
He does
Um,
have. I'll give it to him. He does kind of have an attitude like Trump.
dude, he
Very
does have an
combative.
attitude. He's combative, and dude, man, I tell you what,
Love
he
it.
doesn't give a shit, man. He doesn't give a shit, man. He just goes right out in the yard. He takes a shit. He doesn't care who's watching,
That's
what's
right.
going on. Man, he's sitting next to you. He just fucking rips a big old fart. He don't care. Dude, hey, let me ask you this before we go. What do you think about the fact that Ivanka and Melania weren't at the press conference last night, but Eric and Don Jr. and Tiffany were?
That's an interesting question. I was thinking more about that, and I was feeling like it's almost more insulting to Eric and Don Jr. Considering that your father had an affair, you know, to produce multiple sets of children, and then just like repeatedly engages in these affairs. But I guess on some level, you have to respect Trump because as someone who, and don't get me wrong, I love how combative Trump is and how he fights and fights and fights. But he is, I mean, he was born with a golden spoon shoved up his ass. So he's been, living in his life of luxury and privilege forever. And again, I'm not saying that Trump doesn't work hard. Of course, Trump does. And Trump is a blue collar kind of guy. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're Eric or Don Jr., it's like your dad's a billionaire. Um, why wouldn't your dad have had these constant affairs? So yeah, I can see why Melania and Ivanka wouldn't go to the press conference just out of kind of embarrassment, almost.
Well, so let me say this. So, apparently the affair with Stormy Daniels took place right after Melania gave birth to Barron. And yeah, it's kind of shitty. But Melania couldn't have sex with at that time. So I kind of understand it from one perspective. It's a she was made to do as a human being. Um, I don't know. You know, what's funny to me is how the tactics have gone to the nth degree now. Because remember the talking point, like the big talking point about Donald Trump during 2016, 2000 during 2016, the way that the Democrats tried to handle him was, oh, he had casinos that failed. He's not a good businessman. His dad gave him $1 million, and you could put that in a
Mm-hmm.
mutual fund, and you'd
You haven't
have
heard that
a
lately, have you?
no, no. Now they've gone to the nth degree. They've stopped challenging his wealth and all that stuff and his business expertise, and they've just come out and declared him an enemy against the United States and a criminal.
Yep.
I mean, the rhetoric against this guy has really been taken to the nth degree. He's an insurrectionist, an enemy of the state. I mean, it's a far cry from where they started out with saying he's a bad businessman. He inherited his money from his daddy.
It's
I mean,
too painful for Melania and his daughter Ivanka to watch.
well, no, I, I think Melania is trying to shield Barron,
Well, maybe
right?
that's part of it. That's a good argument. Yeah, but I think
And
Barron was probably like 15 now or 16.
yeah, still, I think she's trying to shield herself. She doesn't want to become the limelight, and she doesn't want Barron to, get sucked
Barron is
into it.
17
And,
years old.
yeah, but still, you don't want a 17-year-old to get sucked into presidential politics where they're fucking, calling your dad an insurrectionist and an enemy against the state and all that other shit. And the other thing is with respect to Ivanka, she was target number two, her and Jared. And she pulled the same stunt that you and I both pulled was, hey, fucking get the fuck out of Dodge before these fucking people really come down on you.
Well,
She doesn't want anything to do with it. I
yeah, I
mean,
mean
she has,
it's for her.
they have,
Yeah,
they have a bunch of small kids too. I mean, do you really want to go around and be at Donald Trump's right hand side and um, potentially be caught up into something, some criminal action, and be away from your kids for years and years because of these vengeful Democrats? Hell no. Stay the
mm-hmm.
fuck away from it. If Ivanka was my daughter, I'd be like, stay the fuck away from it, as far away from it as you can.
Well, I think that's why most politicians try and keep their children as far away from these situations as possible if they can. And in the event that, obviously Ivanka is an adult child, she, I think, has a lot more ability to stay states away, thousands of miles away. I know that she was spotted at the Mayo Clinic with Jared a couple months
Kushner.
ago.
With
So
Kush.
there were some photos up here in the
He's apparently
small
pretty
town
sick, man.
newspapers.
You might be able to slide in there. Console her.
Um, but oh man, I totally lost what I was gonna say about Ivanka.
She's hot.
She was a lot more attractive when she was younger. I don't know if I'd say that now, but it's really just I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, do you think I mean, if that were the case though, Eric and Don would keep their kids as far away from their grandfather as they possibly could, Donald in this case.
Well, so I don't think Eric and what's her name have kids, do they? But Don Jr.'s divorced, remember, so he can kind of shove the kids off on the ex-wife who doesn't come around.
Our stream got canceled. All right.
Dude, did we get dumped again?
Yeah, we got dumped.
What the fuck?
All right. Well, let's stream tomorrow then. Send it.
All right, sounds good, homie.
Kind of light with powers and properties unlike anything that existed before. Laser light.